Watch live. 20 seconds.
You do get my PSS file, right? You have access to it in your notes.
I don't get it.
Oh,
I think you sent me access to it, and I tried to sign on. It wasn't working at that moment, so I'll go back and check it. I don't know what you're going to say beforehand. I don't want to read it.
Well, it's nothing I'm going to say. It's just notes.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn Sunday School, starring Penn Gillette. My name is Michael Godot. Reddy Rich is sitting in Matt's chair today. We are broadcasting from Show Creator Studios in Las Vegas.
It means metaphorically.
This week, we'll hear Penn's review of Avenger, Affinity Wars, and Teller's Macbeth. And we'll say goodbye to Bob Doro. And 677 people have lost 32,105 pounds with our diet cult. Here he is preaching love, Mr. Penn Gillette.
Preaching the love is what I'm doing this Sunday morning at Sunday school. Back from flying my ass all over the country.
Good for you.
I've been flying around. You know, we did the whole month of May. No, what was the month before May?
April.
The whole month of April, we did 4-day weeks. Shows Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Off.
And partying, right? Just out drinking and...
Well, for me, there was a lot of rest, lots of R&R and relaxation. There really was. For Teller, he was directing Macbeth in Chicago. Mm-hmm. That's why we took those extra days off.
Of course.
And that meant that Teller was flying to Chicago and working high stress situation.
I bet.
So Teller would come back Saturday in absolute rest, and I'd come back very, very rested. And that made me more rested and more enjoyable. Mm-hmm. Seeing Teller, you know...
A little frazzled?
Yeah. Well, it's been 43 years I've been working with Teller. And when Teller gets upset enough, it's a real vacation for me. Because then I know that there's nothing's going to come down. I don't have to run faster than the bear. I have to run faster than Teller. So when Teller is exhausted, I feel good. Because then I know that anything that was going to be canceled or anything like that was going to have to be Teller doing it.
Right.
So I canceled
You're not the weak link.
I canceled one Tuesday rehearsal because Teller was so frazzled, and started working on stuff by myself that day.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
But yeah, Macbeth is up.
It's up and running.
Reviews are out there. Good, I believe. If you live in Chicago and want to see Teller's Macbeth, sold out. I think.
Too damn bad.
I think it's tough. I think you can't see it. I think it's sold out, or very close to sold out.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go.
It's a little theater. It's like 700 seats. Can you believe I say that now?
Little theater, yeah. If I could sell 700 seats, I would just be the happiest guy on earth.
Yeah, and really nice. You know, it's a brand new theater. I think it's like the third production in there. It can be reconfigured all sorts of ways. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful production.
And you went down and you saw opening night?
I flew down, flew up, flew across, flew over and it was an exciting time because I was flying from L.A., where I think I can talk about this. Let me think about it a little bit, then I'll talk about it. I was doing something in L.A. that I might talk about later. And Glenn and I were flying in. We met Emily there. She was going to go to the opening with us, but she flew from Vegas. We flew from L.A. And the big old airplane, big old jet airliner, we got close to Chicago, and they said that there was hail and plague of frogs or something on O'Hare. So we were going to circle until we ran out of gas.
Right.
Which is not exactly the way they put it, but it's kind of what they mean.
That's their plan.
We have enough fuel to circle. So we circled for like an hour and a half.
Wow.
And then we went to Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, and landed at, I don't know, about midnight in Madison, Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. And there were several planes, I believe they said 6 or 7, that had been rerouted that way.
Right.
And there was one ground crew. So we couldn't. Not only could we not
pull up to the.
We couldn't get anywhere.
Right.
We couldn't even move off the tarmac. We just had to sit there, and we sat there, I guess, for 2 hours.
Wow.
And I talked with our flight attendant. We talked about, we talked about what flight
A
attendants.
wide-ranging set of topics. We have 2 hours, right?
Talked about sex mostly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, talked about sex. And she also asked me a question I don't get asked very often, which was, of all the famous people you met, whose offstage personality was the most surprising to you? Isn't that a good question?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think she put it the other way. Whose offstage personality would most surprise me? What she said, talking about her. So not most surprising to me, but those would overlap pretty often. And I said what Tom Petty said, which is Bob Dylan's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Dylan and Lou Reed were both, Lou was and Bob is really funny. And that's something you don't expect from those kind of heavy icons. We talked about that a little bit and talked a lot about sex. And I told her the story about when I was coming in for I told her I was in 2 emergency landings, which flight attendants are always very impressed with, because they've had 0.
Yeah.
Emergency landings are so rare that you wouldn't be in them very often. So one, I was taking off in L.A. Did I tell both these stories before? Probably did. Did I?
I don't remember them.
Okay.
One of the landing ones, yes.
Since you're asking me, Guido, my porridge is too cold. Can you
yeah, sure. I
turn
can
me
fix
up
that.
a little?
So I was coming out of L.A. with Teller, and the plane took off. And as soon as it took off, the entire fuselage filled with smoke.
Split the difference?
Filled with smoke.
Right.
Just the whole thing filled with smoke.
Thank you.
And so we went up and then right back down. Boom, boom, right back down. And we were filled with smoke. And they let out the slides and everything.
Nice.
Now, I did exactly what you're supposed to do.
Took off your high heels.
Yeah, took off my high heels. I didn't touch my computer bag, didn't grab it, didn't do anything. I prepared for a crash. I got up. I walked orderly to the exits, where a lot of people, as I walked by them, were like praying and screaming. I just walked to the exit, jumped on the slide. When I hit the bottom of the slide, Teller was right behind me, hit the bottom of the slide, we both walked swiftly, not running, but swiftly, straight away from the plane without looking back.
Perfect.
And when we finally got, a long way, 150 yards, a really long way, we looked back for the first time, and everyone else was clustered at the bottom, which means if the plane was going to blow up, they've accomplished nothing.
All of those pieces of all of those people would have flown on to you.
I don't know, 150 yards is probably okay.
Yeah, you're probably fine.
And it turned out that it was just air conditioner smoke or something.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a flaming smoke.
Right.
And there was no hazard at all. But I got to go on the slide.
That's pretty good. I've never been down the slide. That seems fun.
Pretty fun. Pretty wicked fun. Pretty wicked fun.
Were you thinking fun at the time, or were you thinking, I got to get out of here?
You know me.
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
It was fun.
I was thinking fun.
Yeah.
I was thinking fun, and even fun if it blew up, if people were away, But,
Yeah.
Hear a big bang. And then it was amazing because news crews, I guess probably at LAX, there's news crews there all the time. Is that right?
Seems like it.
Yeah. They had run out on the tarmac, and the furthest away from the plane was me and Teller. And they asked us, put the camera on our face, said, "Do you do this?" I thought was a pretty funny question. This was years and years ago. And then another time, I told the flight attendant both these stories as we landed in Wisconsin. Another time, I was on an airplane. I was alone in first class. It was a red eye from Vegas or L.A. I don't remember to New York. And all of a sudden, I was deep in my sleep. The flight attendant shook me and said, "We're going to have an emergency landing." And I said my first word, "Cool," which upset her. She said, "No, this could be very serious." I said, "Oh, okay." And she was worried, very physically worried, and very nervous and jumpy. And I said, "Well, what do you want me to do?" She said, "Well, there's doors to open." I said, "Well, do you have the manual or something? I'll read it over. I'll be fine. I can take care of all this. I'll open the doors and stuff." She said, "You don't seem scared at all." I said, I'm an atheist. No chance I'm going to hell. Things could just end for me tonight, and that's fine. I'm happy." She said, "Well, you could actually die tonight." I said, "Yeah, I know." So I was taking my rings off, my glasses. We had 10 or 15 minutes,
Yeah,
long time before the landing. And I said, boy, it doesn't seem like there's trouble. She said, we're going to land at a closed Texas airport.
Wow.
Closed Texas airport. And at that point, from a few
Then
seats,
you're worried.
a few seats
No
back,
snacks.
a few seats back came a flight attendant who said, he was off duty, but he was still prepared to help. And she said, okay, you two can take care of this. Now, this flight attendant presented, I'm not an expert on this, but he presented to my eye and ear as gay, and I liked him. I liked him right away. And we were going over the checklist and taking our jewelry off. He was going to sit next to me, and I was getting ready to take our glasses off and go into crash position and all of that. And I leaned over to him and said, if it seems like we're really, really going to die, no doubt about it, I'm going to fuck you. And, or maybe I said we're going to fuck. Maybe it wasn't quite as aggressive as that. If we're going to really crash, we're going to fuck. And he began laughing really, really hard. And that got me laughing. And the flight attendant came over and said, what are you laughing about? At which point he said nothing. And then I said, I think if this is really going to be a crash, we're going to fuck. I mean, the two of us. We're not talking about you. And that did not make her laugh. But it made him laugh very much because he didn't expect me to answer the question. That was a surprise to him. Surprise to him. And so we were both giggling, laughing a lot.
Which is great.
It was great, having a good time. And then we came to the airport, which is very weird because there were lights on, but not the right kind of lights.
Right. I
mean, like almost no lights. So it's kind of like you're going down to darkness, which you don't usually have in an airport, And it was probably the smoothest landing I've ever experienced.
Yeah, I bet that pilot was paying attention.
And then they let us loose. They just opened the door to nobody in the airport. Nobody. And just, cleaning people. And just all of us, we had to wait till there was a flight out at whatever it was, 6 a.m., And this was like 2 a.m. And so we were just there, and I was on the reservation computers trying to boot them up, see if I can get mail. And one of the flight attendants came over and said, "Oh, you can't touch that." And I go, "Okay." She said, "Well, you're not stopping." I said, "Seems like your authority is diminished here." And then I looked around to see if there were any snacks I could reach through the gridding,
right?
And talk. And then this gentleman, pilot, who was, this is not important to the story really, but I remember African-American, tall, very good looking, and the right age that I could ask him this. I said to him, "Did you become a pilot in Vietnam?"
Right.
He said, "Yes, I was part of it. I was there." I said, "So you could land this airplane on a street, on a bridge?" He said, "Yes." I said, "How worried were you during this whole thing?" He said, "Not even for a moment." He said there was nothing wrong with the airplane whatsoever. I had a light come on. I was sure the light was fraudulent. I was sure it was a fake light. I had no loss of control of the airplane. It was perfect. But the book says if that light comes on, I have to bring it down as soon as possible. So I sent the emergency thing back. I said, "Was there ever an emergency?" He said, "No, not even slightly." I said, "Couldn't you have just stuck your head out and gone, 'Look at me, we're going to have trouble,' and gone back in and sat down?" I said, "If I'd just seen you, the little bit of worry I had would have gone away." And he said, "Well, there could have been much worry. The flight attendant said that you were giggling." I said, "Well, it didn't seem like a terrible situation." So I told the flight attendant that.
Yeah.
And she said, which of course statistically would be true, that she had never been in an emergency landing.
Right.
And was surprised that I had been in two.
That's pretty great.
2 emergency landings, and both fun. And then I told her the sad end to my story, which is the flight attendant who sat next to me never called me. Totally ghosted me. No text, no nothing. Disappeared into the wind. We had our laugh during a plane crash.
Maybe he'll be listening in today.
We had a relationship forged.
Missed connection.
Forged. Our connection was forged in tragedy. And like many connections forged in tragedy, just goes to vapor.
Doomed to fail.
Doomed to fail. So I had a nice time talking to her. I talked to her very much.
Pretty good.
I've been wrong about a couple things in this episode already.
What's that?
In retrospect, we have covered both those stories.
We have?
Yes.
That's okay.
And
Those good
also,
stories.
also, it seems unlikely that the news crews are at the LA airport at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wasn't 3 o'clock in the morning. You're conflating two stories.
Yeah, but you said all the time.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, I told those two stories again, and they're good stories.
Those are good stories.
Good stories.
We're happy to hear those stories.
And the flight attendant, she opined that were we in a 10-minute crash situation, she'd be open to sexual activity.
All right. Well, there you go.
I think that was probably true for everybody. You think?
Probably true for everyone.
Yeah. Maybe they don't admit it. But we didn't do it on the in Texas airport.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Much better story if we had.
Yeah, if they intended to come back and you'd already both been naked and giggling, then you have a story.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We had to take our jewelry off anyway. Why not go all the way, right?
There you go.
Yeah. How hip would that be? If a plane crashed and of all the people dead, 2 were naked. Wouldn't it be a great thing for the investigators?
The only 2 who survived were naked.
Yeah.
Then it becomes standard procedure. We're having a little problem. This light, come on, clothes off.
Yeah. Boy, that would be great, wouldn't it? I mean, one guy, right, did a shoe bomb, and we take our shoes off.
Right.
So if 2 people survived a plane crash naked, remember that, people, please. We can make a big change. Be the change you want the world to be. If you're in a crashing airplane, take your clothes off. That's
Okay.
So then we landed in Madison, Wisconsin.
Right, Wisconsin.
Which the flight attendant, who is my close friend at this point, she said, "Oh, Madison, Wisconsin is better than Rochester." I said, "At midnight is better." She said, "Yeah, much better." And then the flight attendant said that she said, "We can't refuel and take off because I've timed out, but I won't tell anybody else that." She didn't want the reason we could not fly to Chicago that night was that the flight attendant had timed out. She had been on 10 hours, and she couldn't take an extra flight to.
And she was telling you so that you could get a rental car before the other people in the plane would get rental cars, or what?
Well, when the people fly, I fly with Glenn. And Glenn, when there's an emergency on the airplane or any sort of travel change, he becomes a prairie dog. His head is up, and he's looking around everywhere, and he's asking questions. And I become a clam. And I got to say that both flight attendants, a man and a woman flight attendant that we had, said that we stayed there on the plane, not moving, on the ground in Wisconsin for about 2 hours with nothing going on. And the flight attendants told me, I was very proud of this. They said I was the cheeriest person they'd ever seen trapped in an airplane. Mm-hmm. The other people were polite, but a little grouchy. I was ebullient. Is that the word? Ebullient?
Sure.
I was bubbly and happy and happily talking to the flight attendant. And then Glenn almost turned violent.
Really?
Because the flight attendant, get this is going to upset you. This is going to very much upset you.
Okay.
A flight attendant, a male flight attendant, after we've been stuck on the ground for 15 minutes, he comes through first class with cookies. You know those really nice ones in a packet where they kind of begins with a B? They're kind of molassesy and nice cookies. They're really good cookies.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, my mother-in-law loves those.
Really nice, yeah. And he came around tossing cookies to us all. We gobbled those down quickly. The Cray Ray diet out the window.
Yeah, that's right.
When you're
trapped
stuck
on a plane.
When you're stuck on the tarmac, and gave us those cookies. And then very shortly after, like 10 minutes, the female flight attendant grabbed a basket of cookies and started walking through first class. Biscoff.
Got it.
Biscoff. Started walking. Mm-hmm. And she came to the very first woman in first class, that first seat, and said, "Would you like cookies?" And she said, no, we were just given them. And the flight attendant turned around and went back without giving cookies to the rest. Glenn overheard this and said, "She's the first to go. She is the first to die. How can you do that? How can you do that? How can you do that? How can you do that?" He was just furious.
Biscoff in your bag and have them later. What's wrong with that lady?
Later?
I mean, if she didn't want them then.
But
I mean, her.
You could still eat all the biscottis in the world.
Biscoff,
Biscoffs in the world. So I went and told my friend her name was Kathy, the flight attendant on the flight to Wisconsin that was supposed to go to O'Hare. I went back and told her the story of the cookies,
the Biscoff tragedy.
How angry that Glenn was. So she came back a little later and brought him a huge handful.
Nice.
Of Biscoff cookies, to which I said, no, we've already had them. And she pulled away with them because we had set this up in order to anger Glenn.
Right.
It was
perfect.
It was but he ended up with, he was still eating 3 days later Biscoff cookies.
Good for him.
But I enjoyed it. And then Glenn, in his prairie dog way, well, I'm just a clam.
Right.
I'm just a clam. I don't pay any attention to how long we've been there.
That's because you have a prairie dog for a pet.
Yeah. I'm a clam with a prairie dog.
Prairie dog pet, yeah.
And so he started going crazy on Uber.
Right.
Finding people, texting them, and found someone to drive us from Wisconsin to Chicago at 2 a.m.
Wow.
Or 1:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, get ready, because this is, we couldn't get anything but a van. I believe it's a hippie van. I believe it's a hippie van with someone who's maybe enjoying some herb tonight and has decided to drive to Chicago. So we are not going to be able to sleep in the van. We have to keep this guy awake. Ended up being a really, really nice guy. We ended up saying, can we stop in here and get you some coffee? Because he had to drive a little over 2.5 hours to Chicago.
Sure, and then back.
Then turn around and drive back. And he said at the end he enjoyed our conversation very much. And because there's no cray-ray in emergency situations, we stopped at McDonald's.
Oh.
And we stop at McDonald's. I still don't get hamburgers or fish burgers. I still don't do that. No interest in that. But I do like them fries.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a big order of fries, and he had coffee. And we drove to Chicago. We got in. We left L.A. at 3, and we got into. I got into my bed in Chicago at about 4:30 a.m.
Same as a trip to Paris.
Exactly. And there I was in Chicago after my exciting.
And the next day was Teller's big show.
Next day was Teller's big show.
That's good. That sounds like a perfect day.
And I went over. It was at Navy Pier. It's at Navy Pier.
Yeah, of course.
And it's Macbeth. And this is the best thing in the world. My name is on the poster, and I didn't do anything. It's just fabulous. It's a big, beautiful poster. Shakespeare's Macbeth, adapted and directed by Aaron Posner and Teller of Penn and Teller. So there it is right there. So it's a Penn and Teller production. I didn't do anything.
Nice.
And the theater is beautiful, and the production is beautiful. Teller's got this monster drummer. I mean, monster. I guess he's Tom Waits' drummer. I should know his name, but I don't. Monster drummer who uses a lot of found objects. He's doing stuff like bowing pieces of metal that he's dipping in water to change the pitch. Lots of spooky sounds. And the Weird Sisters, the witches, they sing everything.
Nice.
All the parts are sung by them. And they use percussion. There's no other instruments. They use percussion all the way through as like movie music.
Okay.
It's like
so
movie
sound
music.
Effects and
yeah. But I mean, it does
to
the
build
mood.
the tension.
Are you looking up who it is?
Yes.
Okay. And the lead actor who plays Macbeth is crazy sexy. Crazy sexy. Lady Macbeth is sexy, but Macbeth is crazy sexy. And Macduff and all of them. It's a really sexy cast. And they're all wearing kilts.
I did a production of Macbeth in junior high school. And I
Well, I'm sure this didn't go up to that.
It's pretty good. Mine was good.
Yeah.
Mine had maybe more laughs.
I don't know. This is a laughy one.
I had laryngitis on production day, and I was playing Macduff, and Macduff has the line, "My voice is in my sword, thou bloody villain,"
Yes.
which is, "My voice is in my sword, thou bloody villain." Got a pretty good laugh.
Good, yeah.
And Macbeth Macbeth was my juggling partner at that time, and he
That's the name of,
Yeah.
of your autobiography.
Yeah.
Macbeth was my juggling partner at the time.
Macbeth says, how do you keep the rosy color of your cheeks when mine are blanched with fear? Is the regular line. During the show, he said, how do you keep the rosy color of your cheek when mine are bleached with cheer? So it was a very successful production of Macbeth.
Well, I probably shouldn't say this, but there was one moment in the show. There's real magic in the show. Mm-hmm. I mean, the dagger does float, and the blood does come out of nowhere.
Tell her that's
and the ghosts vanish and reappear.
Sure.
It's really good. But the ghosts vanish and reappear beautifully, and no one knows how the trick is done.
Well, in ours, he just kind of stumbled through the curtain, and I remember when the ghost is supposed to disappear, him being unable to find the break in the curtain.
Yeah. Well, this was great because the vanish was perfect. And the biggest laugh in the show from Teller, who was sitting directly in front of me, was one of the characters, I think Malcolm, at one of the vanishes. After it's vanished, and he falls back in surprise that there's a vanish. His cape was stuck in the trapdoor, just for a moment. Yeah. And the audience as a whole did not notice it much. A few people did here and there. But Teller was laughing, which gave me license.
Permission, yes.
To laugh.
I'm free to laugh now.
But they also do it, Teller perceived it. Macbeth is often done, and probably in modern versions more than the original, is often done as a dismal, heavy tragedy.
Certainly was in junior high.
And I believe in Shakespeare's time, it would have been done much more like a monster movie, horror movie.
Okay.
Yeah. And Teller's very much taken that to heart. Whether that's true or not, Teller believes it. And so this is the pain and suffering are done much lighter. And it moves along at a fast clip, and the actors are very, very clear on everything. Not a lot of space between lines. It goes lickety-split, and there's magic, and very, very easy to watch.
Right.
And that monster drummer, whose name is?
Kenny Wollison.
And he's on an elevated platform, and he's so good.
That sounds great.
And the other thing that I love is some drummers who make weird percussion noises, when they need to do a groove, it doesn't have a pocket. But boy, when he needed to do a pocket, he had a pocket. So it really did, it wasn't long, but during like the fight scenes and stuff, it really did stay right there and really move along. It was very, very nice.
That sounds great. How long is it running? Do we know?
I don't know, a couple months.
Okay.
A few months.
I'm going to be in Chicago in June. Maybe I can get by and see.
Yeah, you can. You probably have to talk to Teller.
I'll probably have to talk to Teller. That's okay.
He's credited as musical instruments of darkness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah. But he
Must
also,
have asked him for his own title.
And he's also played with Sean Lennon.
Yep. And other people, too.
So he's
Sean
a
Lennon, Tom
serious guy, serious drummer.
Serious drummer. Everybody was serious. And then also it's beautiful, beautiful production. I don't usually notice that. But what I call a beautiful production
And Laurie
is things are bright enough for me to see. Laurie?
Anderson.
Oh, yeah. Things are bright enough for me to see. I could see everything on stage. It was bright. It was,
Right.
It was good. And it was a good production. I really, really enjoyed it.
That's cool.
And if you can get into it, if you're in Chicago,
I'm going to give it a try.
you should go. I mean, other people I'm talking to too.
Yeah.
There may be tickets here and there, but my favorite moment, and this may be unfair to Teller, but my favorite moment of the whole evening is we had a rubber chicken dinner beforehand for all the donors. Like you give, $150,000 to this theater company, and you get to have chicken with Teller.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So remember the times you've had bad chicken with Teller, you owe him $150,000 every one of those times.
Oh, no. We take a check.
I, of course, did not eat and did not talk.
You don't have $150,000 to spell.
Right.
Dinner with Teller? No way.
Sat at the round table.
It's really expensive. We start adding yours up.
Said no thank you to all the food that came, because I wanted to eat later at a place.
McDonald's.
I get proper food, vegan place. And they had a vegan meal for me, but hotel vegan meal. So I didn't eat at all. I just sat there not eating. And then there were people that donated a lot of money around me, and I let Emily and Glenn and Teller talk to them. I didn't have anything to say. I answered politely but not friendly, which is sometimes the vibe I'm in. That was the vibe I was in. They got up and made these stupid speeches. Teller was a beautiful little speech, and Aaron Posner was a beautiful speech. But another guy got up, and he said something that I think will change my life. He said, "I've seen this production. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. You should be looking forward to this. I've seen it, and it's unlike nothing you've ever seen before."
Nice.
And when he said, "unlike nothing you've ever seen before," I just, Teller, me, Emily, and Glenn, and no one else in the room, but the four of us, you could see us simultaneously cock our heads like puppies watching television. Unlike nothing you've ever seen before. And then both Teller and I changed it in our heads to unlike nothing you've never seen before. And that seems like it's underlining the joke too much. Unlike nothing you've ever seen before. That means it's like everything you've ever seen before. Is it like a cheeseburger? Well, yes, it is. It's not unlike a cheeseburger. Is it like a hegemony in the European Union? Yeah, it's like that too. Is it like a squid? Yeah. It's unlike nothing you've ever seen before.
I'm going to put it on my next show poster. That's going to be the subtitle for my show. Mike Godot, unlike nothing you've never seen before.
No, you want to do never?
I think never is right for a comedy poster.
Unlike nothing you've never seen before. I was thinking about using it for a billboard for Penn and Teller.
Yeah, okay. Well,
unlike nothing you've never seen before.
You were there first. I realized that it is yours if you want it.
Well, it's not mine. It's whatever the guy was, the director that did
We'll
that.
have to contact him.
But boy, did I love it. Love it to death.
It is really funny.
Unlike nothing you've ever seen before.
That's funny because I was in Texas last weekend, and I drove by a trailer park sign. That was the Southern Star Trailer Park, and it said, formerly known as Eagle's Nest.
Oh, formerly.
Instead of formerly. But it was it's like, wow. I wonder if they meant it that way or not.
Yeah.
I guess formally works.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem proper for a trailer park.
Yeah, those are two hard words. So I got this idea that I'm going to talk to you all about.
All right.
I wear anybody who's seen pictures of me in my civvies, not in a suit, knows that I'm always wearing the exact same thing.
Yes.
I'm always wearing a Monkees baseball hat. I'm wearing a black Dickies work shirt with double pockets. I'm wearing Lucky You jeans, and I'm wearing very, very expensive sneakers that someone has sent to me. I'm wearing black socks so I can go right on stage with them, and I'm wearing very, very comfortable, slinky, sexy underwear, and I'm wearing my sweatshirt. And my sweatshirt is always the same. I bought it at the Beat Museum in San Francisco. And it is Jack Kerouac's typewriter. Now, I'm not sure it's a picture of Jack Kerouac's typewriter, but it is a picture of a typewriter of the same make and model as Jack Kerouac's typewriter. Or it could be actually a photo of a self-same typewriter. I don't know. But it's beautiful. It's one color, silver, Jack Kerouac typewriter. I love having a typewriter on my chest.
Right.
It identifies me as to myself as a writer, and I like the typewriter on my chest. Because I wear this all the time. I wear it sometimes to sleep. I wear it around the house. I wear it every time I travel. I wear it outside. It has been worn out. I went to the Beat Museum about 3 years ago. I bought this. It's wearing out. I went on the inner tube, and I checked to find that sweatshirt. And the sweatshirt is not available easily on the web. But there are a lot of places that make sweatshirts. And they'll do them custom, anything you want. So also, simultaneously with this, my typewriter from when I was a child, my Remington Quiet Writer that my dad gave me and still has in a yellow Dynamo label maker, Samuel H. Gillette stuck across the top of it. And this is the typewriter that I typed The Pain Addict on.
Great.
This is the typewriter that all my creative writing.
And you still got it.
Still got it. It got sent out to me. It was in my parents' house.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So I took a picture. It's that baby blue, that kind of baby blue that typewriters could be.
Powdery blue.
And it's supposedly a portable, and really powdery baby blue, and it's gorgeous. So I took some pictures of this, and I went to my friends who do a little bit of photoshopping, and I said, does anybody want to make this into something I can put on a T-shirt? Make the blue, maybe like 2 colors or something, like maybe blue and white to go on a black T-shirt. But I like the blue there, and I put it up on the Facebook and said, anybody want to do the Photoshop? And then instantly people had pulled out the background and made it monochromatic and done a great job. But then I get another idea, okay, which was, why don't the keys just all of them say N-O-G-O-D, 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 no God, no God, no God.
Very
no God.
funny.
And then I got to thinking, well, maybe I could do more than that. So I went and looked at isopanagrams. Isopanagram, is that the term?
I don't know what that is.
That is all the letters of the alphabet arranged with anagrams of the alphabet.
Yeah, okay.
So ideally, you want an anagram of the alphabet. They're really hard to do. To get 26 letters that do a sentence, there's only 1 or 2 you can do.
Right.
So I started looking, could I do this? And I looked through the shortest panagrams that I could find, if that's the word. And these are them. The wizard quickly jinxed the gnomes before they vaporized. That's 50 letters, but it includes all 26. Grumpy wizards make toxic brew for the evil queen and Jack. That's 48 letters. Grumpy wizards make a toxic brew for the jovial queen. That's 44 letters.
Mm-hmm.
A quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
Sure.
That's 33 letters.
That's the classic one.
5 jumping wizards hex bolty quick. That's 31 letters. Now, the typewriter has 51 keys because it has the line of that, the lines of the numbers up top.
Yeah, sure.
So I can actually go up to 51 and have all the letters spell that. But then, so I started laying out how it would be, right? Mm-hmm. So I got a quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. And then I went, wait a minute. Dog is God backwards. So I came up with this. A quick brow fox jumps over the Z no God. So I just did what I did the break. So a quick brow on the top line, N fox jumps on the second, over the la on the third, Z no God. Exclamation point at the end. And then I said, wait a minute, I can change this. Quick brown fox jumps O the lazy no God. That looks nice. And the O has the apostrophe in it. That's when Penn discovered that using symbols would also be fun. Then I came up with quick tilde brown fox caret jumps @ VR the star lazy parentheses and then no on the shift key. No on the shift key. Okay, just no all the shift key. And then marks for obscenity. Exclamation point, @ number sign, dollar sign, exclamation point, God, exclamation point. So no fucking God. Then I thought, well, that might be better at the top. No symbols, God, jumps, @ VR, parentheses, the quick brown lazy / fox question mark. Then I said, wait a minute, if I put question mark at the end, I can also put the / sign under it. So I think the one I'm looking at now is on the top line, NO exclamation point, @ Octothorpe, $ bang, $ apostrophe G-O-D exclamation point. That's the first line. Second line is jumps @VR quote THE. Next line, quick, comma, brown. Last line, lazy / fox question mark. And I'm asking someone if they can get either a better way, because that is every letter of the alphabet, by the way.
Right.
Every letter of the alphabet, and it can be laid out on the keys, and I think it would look really beautiful, but I want to make it look like a photograph of that. And then, unfortunately, I got Anthony Etherin involved. Anthony Etherin is the constrained poet who does constrained poetry.
Yeah.
And he said, why not put a piece of paper in the typewriter and have it be a haiku palindrome that you're typing onto there. So he came up with
Oh, no.
he came up
Oh,
with
no.
first of all, he had one, this does every key on the keyboard, does it repeat, and looked right to him. We have jazz, quick, complex, life's rhythm, but no God. That's pretty nice. Then he started doing palindrome haikus. So this is the same backwards and forwards and is a haiku. Do go, none. Bigots use Jesus to jibe. No God.
Wow.
Then he tried God onwards. Must some bigots use Jesus to jibe? Most sums draw no God.
Wow.
And then he came up with what he thinks is his best. Evil ado gone not. Am I on to plan my hymnal pot? No, I am at one. No God alive.
Wow.
So those would be, but I'm thinking that maybe just the keyboard. And of all of these, I still like no God jumps over the quick brown lazy fox.
Yeah.
I think that plays it the best.
That plays it the best. It's the most recognizable for the traditional phrase. To me, anyway. to
Any
my ear.
comments on that, Everett Rich?
Isopangram. That's the word.
I said it wrong.
Isopan.
You were looking for it.
Isopangram. Isopangram means a anagram of the alphabet.
Yeah, perfect. Also perfect pangram. Same thing.
A perfect pangram. And do they have a perfect pangram there? I think there's one. It's really
I had a
hard.
couple.
It's really hard to do a perfect pangram because you've only got 5 vowels in 26 words.
Wow.
Did you do the Mr. Jock one already?
No.
Mr. Jock TV quiz PhD bags few links.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah. Say it again.
Mr. Jock TV quiz PhD bags few links.
Wow.
And the lynx is the animal.
Yes.
Yeah. L-I-L-Y-N-X.
Yeah, lynx is a good word for
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Like quiz, jocks.
isopangram. So if anybody's got a good isopangram, an isopangram cannot have no God in it because there's already 2 O's in that.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, that's the way to go. That's why, yeah, he in the no God, he has just the 2 O's and the double Z he has in there.
Those are the only ones that are repeated?
And then someone else did a really pretty one that I might have here that he laid out on the keyboard. I haven't got it here. Laid out on the keyboard. But it was nice. It was nice. So that if you got a better one, if you got a better idea for this
And so
sweatshirt,
we're gonna publicly start selling these shirts now? We're gonna produce these and start seems like a
I said that if I got a really, really nice T-shirt and it really worked really well, that I would make them available to Sunday school listeners.
Nice.
Maybe stick a Sunday school logo on it, and you could have it. I believe there's companies that do all the fulfillment and everything, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You just they send it, and I wouldn't. I wouldn't be like for me to take a cut. It would just be like if you want to wear that, you could have it. So if you want to wear it and you want to have it, and you've got a better idea for how it should be laid out, you let
get
me
on
know.
it.
Get on.
You're running out of time.
Get on up. Get on the scene. But I'll tell you, when you ask Anthony Etherin, what can you do with arranging words in palindromes and so on, he's good. He's really good. Because, palindromic haikus, they're really, really hard.
Pretty rare.
really hard, really hard.
That's amazing.
And
I can't wait to see it.
I had done a few. What did I do here? If I can find them here. I had done a few that I worked on after I met him. I got really interested in this. And I did a few that used every letter of the alphabet. These are pangram haikus. Black wax dailies hide, queer cunts zoom past, va-va-voom, gummy jokes can't flow. I think I had some other ones here, but they're really fun to do. These are by somebody else. This is haiku pangrams. Carving just for you, baby broke quiet, not proud, 6 lame hands wake fizz. Mothers I can't dial, woke sex zipper bones coverage, converge just for P's and Q's. My best cutest ox stomps around jive quail towns, ghosting fake wazoos.
You just run it. Just sounds like lists of words sometimes.
It does. But it's hard work and it's also fun. Instead of doing the what are they called?
Sudoku
on the plane, these can keep you going. I think I have. Those aren't the ones that I.
So now we know what you did with that 2 hours sitting on the tarmac.
Yeah.
The clam. The clam was typing.
Yeah. I don't know where mine are.
There's your autobiography title now. There you got it. The clam was typing.
I had done a nice one that I was pretty proud of, but I don't know if I can find it now. Keep pulling the keep holding it down.
Well, you know what?
Here we go.
Liar.
No, I haven't found it. I was lying.
All right, good. Well, in that case, I'm going to say Wednesday night, and that is May 9th. I believe it's May 8th. I am on the Late Late Show with James Corden.
Really? Doing what?
I am Stage 56 Bar Tricks. They have people come on. You know, we don't use variety artists as variety artists anymore. We have to pretend they're Joe Schmo.
Yeah.
Pulled them off the street. He does this crazy trick. And so I'm going to juggle and eat apples with James Corden on May 8th.
And it's already shot?
It's already shot.
Wednesday's the 9th.
Wednesday's the 9th, so it's Tuesday, May 8th. Tuesday, May 8th with James Corden. And it was really fun. It was the first time doing that and meeting James Corden, and he seems like a delightful man.
I'm curious if, when you were doing your Google search for the sweatshirt, if it returned any images of yourself wearing the sweatshirt.
You got it? You found your stuff?
I found one that I made up. Doves cry on the fjord. My quixotic B-flat waltz making your pangram. That's one by me. That's not bad.
Very nice. Very nice.
That's the best one I came up with, I think, right there.
So
yeah.
you throw away the cutting word thing.
The what?
The cutting word.
Yes, I do. I don't want to make it impossible for me.
Okay.
I also didn't have I had time of season in there and a nature thing, but I didn't have the cutting word. So that was that. And if you get a better idea for the sweatshirt, I like to wear a sweatshirt all the time when I travel. I like to have a sweatshirt on, and I like to have a typewriter on the cover. And I think my high school typewriter would be really nice.
That sounds like a good idea. I think it's going to be a good shirt.
But we got to tell me what's going to be on the keys. And you can cheat. You can cheat and put on the outside keys, the shift keys. You can write something on them too to make it an interesting thing. But I think Quick Brown Fox really helps you get the idea that you've rearranged the letter. Yeah. I think it helps it. So what else? Have you seen Infinity War yet?
I have not. I'm going to go see it this afternoon.
What do you got going on? First of all, Joey got his driver's license.
Joey got his driver's license.
Tell people about your son, Joey.
Well, he's 18 years old finally. I know people who listen regularly know high-functioning autistic and, has been through quite a lot to try to keep up with everybody else. And a week ago, he got his driver's license.
And you thought he'd never leave the house.
I thought he would never leave the house. You know, when he was 3 years old, he hadn't spoken. And so at that point, I thought, well, this is the last time it's going to seem normal to have him around. People are going to start noticing he's too big to not talk. And then we got a speech therapist for him, and they were going to try to teach him 100 words in the next 6 months, and in the next week he already had 100 words. It was, it was like the Cajun joke. Well, up until now everything's been fine. Yeah. And so we got him a speech therapist, and he hasn't, as you noticed, he hasn't stopped talking since that day.
Not for a moment.
Not for a moment. So it was it was money well spent. And he finally passed his driver's license. Got first try. Passed the driver's license, and he's not a kid.
Did you teach him, or did you take classes?
I've been teaching him, yeah, and obviously his mom and his grandmother. But he's done an amazing job. But it's very funny because
is he a good driver?
He's a very, very cautious driver.
Yeah, you wouldn't catch him going 56.
He is not going 56, no. And in fact, I was laughing because the other day we pull up to a four-way stop, and as we're pulling in, he's driving my car, which has a little touchier brakes. He goes, well, that was such a smooth stop, Dad. So, yeah, good job. He says, I think that was the smoothest stop ever. I think that's the smoothest stop in the world. I'm so good at stop. You know what? I should be a race car driver. I am such a good stopper that I should be a race car driver. And then I said, we're at a four-way stop. These people are all waiting. You got to stop talking about the stop. But he has never gone.
Did others applaud?
Yeah, they applauded. Yes, exactly. That's how beautiful it was. He's never left the house on his own to go do anything. Mm-hmm. Never left to go to the store by himself as a teenager. Never gone to a friend's house on his own.
Does he ride a bike?
He rides a bike, but only in the neighborhood. He won't leave the neighborhood and go to the store or around to the parks or anything. Only stays, very, very close to home. Since he got his license, he is out driving on his own and just coming home going, hey, Dad, I'm going to go for a drive. And just gone out and driven around, and for hours. 2.5 hours he'll be gone just driving around our neighborhood.
He could have driven us from Madison, Wisconsin to
picked you up.
Chicago.
And he would have been happy to do it. He actually got in trouble. He was over at one of Teller's neighbors has a caboose, a train caboose in his yard. And he decided he would just drive up there and look at that caboose. So Teller's neighbor was out yelling at Joey the other day.
Now, you don't ever drive anymore, right? When he's in the car?
I'd let him drive, yeah. I make him drive almost all the time.
I'm looking forward to that.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
You get a learner's permit at 15 and a half, right?
Yeah. And he had no interest in it. He was already 18 and hadn't gotten his learner's permit and had no interest in driving. And then we forced him to go get his learner's permit, and now he's just become obsessed and just loves it.
Now, can he drive for Uber, or is it you have to be 21?
I think you have to be 21. I'm not sure. But he's also just started a job. There's a Sequest aquarium here in Vegas at one of the malls, which is just like a public aquarium, nice aquarium. And he's volunteered and started working there last week. He's been there 2 days now.
Oh, good.
So things are jumping in the autistic son world. He is as happy as he has ever been in his life.
Oh, really?
It's fantastic.
And is Teresa happy with him driving his car?
She's loving it.
Because he's so safe.
Yeah. He was on, the other day he was saying, I went out on a dirt road and I was drag racing. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was racing as fast as I could go on this dirt road. And I was, taking off and racing up the road. And I was like, Joe, you that's not safe. You really can't do that. And I talked to him for a long time, and then he finally went, yeah, the speed limit was 35, and I went 38. So his idea of racing was 38.
Yeah.
So it's not quite the disaster. I was like, what's gotten into him? He's gone wild.
All of a sudden, rebel without a cause.
Rebel without a cause? No. He was going 38 and a 35.
That's nice.
And he got in a fight with the police the other day. They were at his school. They were at his school doing a presentation. And he said, what if you are, 0.5 miles an hour over the speed limit?
But wait a minute. He doesn't go to school. He's homeschooled.
He's homeschooled. He goes 1 day a week. He goes to a charter school here in Vegas.
I see.
And then also right now, 2 days a week, he goes to the community college and takes a college class on how to take college classes.
Oh.
As if you're talking palindromes.
I was so wanting the police to be doing a presentation in Gudo's house.
Yeah, no, they were at my house, yes, doing a short presentation. And he asked them, what if you're going, 0.5 miles an hour over the speed limit? He says, well, then we'll give you a ticket. And then he said, what if you're going 0.00001 miles an hour over the speed limit? And the police officer said, there's no such thing. And that made him insane. Every now and then he starts heckling, and that was one of the moments. And I could tell by the way he told the story when he got home that he was very, very upset and had yelled at the police officers. So,
Well, he's right.
he's right.
What is the is it Piltney? Who's the Greek writer that had you can't go any distance because you have to go half the distance, then half that distance?
Oh, yeah, that theory.
That
What is that?
that paradox, Piltney's paradox. Some guy.
You're close.
Some
You're
guy's
close on the
paradox.
name. I'm not sure what the name is.
Tell me about Blue Origin.
Blue Origin, yeah. I was. That's where I was last Sunday instead of here.
It's top secret mission.
My top secret drone mission. I was part of the drone team filming
Zeno.
Was it
Zeno.
Zeno's
Paradigm.
paradox?
It's called the Arrow Paradox, but
The Arrow paradox.
that's what it is.
Zeno paradox.
Yeah, so I was at last Sunday at the Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin launch, which is his. He's developing a tourist rocket to go to space.
Now, were you there with Jeff Bezos?
I wasn't hanging out with Jeff. No, I didn't see Jeff. I saw him through a camera lens.
But imprimatur, was he given you permission?
Yes, I was hired by the part of the company that films it.
And where was it?
Outside of El Paso, Texas, about 2 hours outside of El Paso, Texas. Jeff Bezos owns 1 billion acres of desert land out there, and he's built his own rocket launch facility out there. And I was part of the drone team filming it.
How many people? How many drones were up there?
We had 2 drones, 3 people. Mm-hmm. So one was pilot, one person was the camera operator on the drone, and I was the drone tech. So, we would, at a couple minutes before launch, we would take off and fly the 3 miles over to the launch pad. And the battery on this drone only lasts 12, 14 minutes. So we don't have enough time to keep one in the air the whole time. So the camera team, the 2 guys flying the camera team, would fly up to the launch site, and they would film waiting for the launch, and then the launch. And then the second that the rocket was out of the drone site, they would hand me that drone, and I would fly it back, land it, change the batteries, take off again. And during that time, they would have taken off with the second drone to the landing zone. And so, and this is one of those the vertical landing on a launch pad, the beautiful,
So they went up and down.
up and down, yeah, falling at thousands of miles an hour, and then the retro rockets fire, and it lands.
Oh, it were not parachutes?
No,
Shit, like
land, yes,
like science fiction.
yes, exactly like science fiction, and fantastic, amazing to see it.
That's a new thing, right?
It's a pretty new thing, yeah. A few people are doing it now, and it is beautiful to watch.
So they do it backwards.
Yeah.
So you could play the film backwards.
It still looks great, yeah, yeah. Except that the passenger cone is off at that point because that's a booster rocket. So the capsule is launched up into space. The booster comes back down, lands on the landing pad, and then a few minutes later, the capsule comes back down, and then parachutes open up and it lands.
Uh-huh.
But it was beautiful, really. Like you said, like the other launches, loud and beautiful, and sonic booms and
comedy timing.
And comedy timing. Just yeah.
I've said that many times,
Yeah.
but you look over and go, you'd think there'd be some. You get enough time because there'd be the speed of light and the speed of sound over 3 miles. You have enough time to actually think the sentence. I thought there'd be some noise before it hits you in the chest and knocks you over.
Yeah, and it was.
Have
beautiful.
you seen one of the most beautiful things ever? The Kentucky Fried Chicken with the rocket launches.
No.
You don't know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You should pull up a picture for Godot on that. They take pieces of Kentucky Fried Chicken and put them around in a picture of a rocket launch so that it looks exactly like the clouds of
I did see that. I did see that for a second.
So beautiful.
That was really great.
So I could quit typing.
You can quit typing. You can quit typing.
And
Did you fall in love with a Mexican girl?
No, I didn't. In El Paso, I should have.
In the West Texas
Yeah, the
town
West
of El
Texas
Paso?
town of El Paso, yeah. It was Rosa's Cantina, though. We did eat at Rosa's.
Did you?
No.
now,
But again,
you've been to a shuttle launch.
Yes.
Was this as loud? And big?
No, it was not as loud and not as big, but they're building a larger rocket. Bezos is building a larger rocket. So,
But they're coming down. I guess someone has done that before, right?
yeah, it's been done a few times.
Why wasn't I paying attention? Because that's
I don't know.
great.
It is beautiful to see. You guys,
Now,
you can
did
see the
you,
footage of our shoot.
did you
It's available online, just on YouTube.
Did you fuck up anything?
No.
You did everything right?
I did everything right, but there were problems.
Wow.
We were launching it from the top of a bunker, and so there was some magnetic interference, and so there was some scrambling because on launch day there were more radios active than we had anticipated. And we'd been there and practicing, and everything was going well, and then on the actual day there was some radio interference that made us run around like chickens.
How long a gig
flopping
was
like
this
fish.
for you? How many days you work on it?
I went down a couple of days ahead of the launch, and then the launch was on Sunday.
So it was a nice time.
4 or
for you.
5 days, yeah.
Nice time.
It was
Did you have a good
fantastic.
time?
I had a great time.
Was
really.
it's like a convention atmosphere in the hotel?
Yeah, well, it's all rocket scientists,
Were you
so
camping?
that's really
Were
fun.
you camping or no?
No, we were staying at a hotel.
Do you have you have the A hotel where everybody was? I mean, how many hotels could there have been there?
Yeah, well, that's the funny part of that. I don't remember the name of this town, but the town had like 40 hotels and only like 6 restaurants. I don't know what they're doing in that town, but somehow they are supporting 40 hotels.
A lot of
hotels.
A lot of people fasting.
A lot of rooms, a lot of hungry people. Yeah.
And that's a wonderful trip, huh?
It was a wonderful trip, and I drove to El Paso and
To fall in love with the Mexican girl.
yeah.
And let me just, my understanding of modern drones
Yeah.
is they fly back to base camp by themselves.
They will, but not at the speeds that we needed them to be back.
So you actually
And
were
also-
doing something.
also I'm
because your
landing-
description of what you
Right.
were doing was nothing.
No, I did fly it back as fast as it would possibly go, and then land on top of a very, very small. The return to home is not as accurate as you would hope. It won't land within a 1-foot square. You know what I mean? It's going to be within a 10-foot square, but I'm on top of a bunker. We're on top of a bunker, and 2 feet off means falling off the top of the bunker. So
And
I would land it and change the batteries out and launch it again as fast as I could.
Like pit crew, you're pit
Yeah,
crew.
I'm pit crew.
And how big is the drone?
It's pretty big. It's DJI Inspire 2.
Tell me.
So
so
it's
3 feet across?
No, it's 2.5, and then it's really cool because it's got the legs raised. It's got a raisable landing gear, so you take off and raise the landing gear, and then race off in the direction you're going.
Are you getting good at this?
Pretty good, yeah. Yeah, I have a couple of drones myself, so
But not big ones like
not
that.
a big one like that. No, I don't have. That's a very expensive one. So
What's very expensive in a drone?
a few $1,000s.
And how often do you fly?
I fly all the time. I have a $1,500 one at home that I fly all the time.
Where do you fly? What do you do with it?
In front of my house, up and down the street. I practice flying around trees. Just the kind of camera work that you would do, called a trucking shot, where I'll pick something and try to fly around it and keep it in the center of the frame and things like that. Real camera work. I also do have recently been doing insurance drone missions where I fly over someone's house and take pictures of their roof if there's been roof damage.
Oh.
So when I'm not juggling now, I've got these other.
Who hires you for that? Insurance
There's just a
companies?
couple of online. There are a couple of online drone companies, and you go through and you take their classes and go out and do their tests. Take photos of your own house and send them those, and they'll look at them and go, "Yeah, you're good at this. You can do this."
And you have a pilot's license that helps?
I have a pilot's
You
license.
can't do it without that, right?
You cannot do it without a drone pilot's
So
license.
that's keeping the people who are good out of the field.
It's been fantastic for me. Yes, yeah.
This bureaucracy is making you money.
Nothing but good for me because I already had a pilot's license, and so taking the test for the drone pilot license was very easy.
Wow. And you own this. It makes movies too, of course, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a 4K.
But when you do that, you're also doing your own camera work.
Yes.
Now, do you wear goggles for this?
Nope.
You just do it on screen?
I just do it on a screen. Yeah, I have a shade box that I'll put over. It's on an iPad. I'm watching a first-person view, like I'm flying inside the drone through a.
When we were doing that movie that will never come out, The Grounds,
Yeah.
that we did at my house, we had a guy with a baseball-sized drone
Right.
who was, I guess he'd won all sorts of awards, but he was flying through people's legs and under tables and under chairs. It just seemed impossible.
Yeah, it's really fun to fly the small ones, and in fact, that's how you learn. You buy you can buy a cheap $30 drone without a camera, and fly it around your house. And if you can do that and not crash into the walls, you're ready.
But if it doesn't have a camera, how do you do the first person?
$200, you need a camera one.
Yeah.
You know, you can get one with a camera on a live first-person view for about $200.
And you fly around and do that.
Yeah. And then you get the bigger ones, and the bigger ones, the more expensive ones, are 1,000,000 times easier to fly because they're so much more stable. Mine, you can fly it and walk up and push it, and it comes right back to where you pushed it from. You know, it's got a GPS coordinates, and so.
But you get yelled at by Godot.
Yeah.
Hey, stop pushing
pushing my drone, man.
Now, what are the smallest drones now? What's the littlest ones with the cameras in them?
The size of maybe a $50.
And are they quiet?
They're pretty quiet.
Oof. The end of privacy.
The end of privacy is coming. And good news is I'm flying it.
And you'll have battery length will go up, right?
Yeah, battery length will go up. And in fact, mine, the one I have, has software that will follow you.
Oh, does it?
So I can set it and go skiing or ride my bike through my neighborhood, and my drone will follow me.
Have you done that?
I've done it with skiing, yeah.
And does it give great shots?
It does get great shots. It's really beautiful and fun. It's the best selfies you can get.
They're working on now robots that will walk with you and carry stuff for you.
Yeah, there's one you can ride on now that's put out by the those guys, Ginger. Ever since they named they changed the name from Ginger, I've been unhappy.
Yeah, what's it called? You know,
we're old guys. We can't remember the name of the new ride-on, two-wheeled. What the hell?
You don't know what we're talking about?
I'm not sure.
The thing you ride on.
The thing that's going to change the world?
Yeah.
I have one in my garage. I don't remember the name of it either.
Yeah. Boy, and that was a huge ad campaign. And now we don't remember it. It begins with S, I think.
Segway. There it is.
I got the S in.
You did. Good job.
We're going to have a lot more to talk about. We're going to talk about it on Wednesday. That was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
That's the wrong one. That's the wrong tense.
That is. There it is.
Cha-cha-cha. You become naked during a plane crash.
You're going to be up all day editing that one, aren't you?
Why is that?
We just couldn't remember the name for Segway.
Oh, that's right. That was Penn Sunday School.
Yeah, they make a Segway that follows you around now, and then you can get on it if you decide you're tired of walking.
Yeah, to carry stuff for you. Well, they're going to make you into a Sherpa. It'll just have everything with you. That was Penn Sunday School. You know I love you. I really do.
Silly Sally likes Madison, but she doesn't like Rochester.
What's that?
You don't know Silly Sally?
No. Oh, yes, I do.
Okay.
But I always forget.
Stand by for episode 2 for everybody.
We need a new intro.
Well, Bob Duro, still good. Penn bought a lot of whiskey. We covered enough of the James Corden trick.
Yeah.
It'll be afterwards anyway.
Yeah.
That time when there was only one set of tracks was when your Segway was carrying you. I like David Cross's take on that.
What does he say?
That time when there was only one set of tracks was when you were alone because I was dealing with the other 7 billion fucking people on Earth. You selfish bastard. Something like that.
Do I have an ad this time?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Is it at the front?
Was it up front?
There's one up front and one in the middle. And a sleep number.
I'm going to go. Have you checked out the big podcast with Shaq lately? Of course, Shaq and the team talk basketball and sports, but it's not all about sports. Shaq talks movies, TV, music, what's happened in his life, and maybe even a little gossip. Some of his past guests include Chris Webber, Rob Gronkowski, and Rob Riggle. Make sure you check out the big podcast with Shaq every Monday exclusively on Apple Podcast, the Podcast One app, and podcastone.com.
This is Penn Sunday School, and to our listening ears, all nature sings and round us rings the music of the spheres. This is Penn Sunday School.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to Penn Sunday School, starring Penn Gillette. My name is Michael Godot, and Reddy Rich is sitting in Matt's chair again today. We are broadcasting from the Show Creator Studios in Las Vegas. This week, we'll learn what the hell could possibly drive Penn to buy a whole lot of whiskey. And we didn't get to it on Sunday, but this show will say goodbye to Schoolhouse Rock guru Bob Doro. Here he is, preaching love, Mr. Penn Gillette.
Oh, yeah, preaching love, preaching love, preaching love. Oh, Bob Duro, man, Bob Duro. You know, I'm the wrong age for Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah, you're old,
you
right?
have to be a little, you have like 5 years younger than me.
Yeah, I was there, so.
Yeah, Schoolhouse Rock was everything to those people, but I was already out of that. And with children's shows, a year makes a difference.
Yes, of course.
You know, my children, I watched all the way through Gravity Falls.
Yeah,
Have you ever watched Gravity
I have.
Falls?
It's a great show.
What a great show. My children just love it. But Grunkle Stan,
Yeah.
and also Larry King appears in it as the living head of Larry King.
Right.
I was so envious because also Jon Stewart's in it as well, playing a judge.
Ah.
And boy, what a wonderful show! Kind of like Twin Peaks for children.
Yeah.
I watched. You know, my son asked me. Emily and Mox were doing a horse show, so they go and they stay at a RV at the horse park, and they compete and get all these ribbons, which are very reasonably priced when you figure in everything. And Z and I stay at home, and we just sit on the couch and binge watched
Yeah.
Gravity Falls, and Old Man McGucket.
Right.
Oh boy, do I love Old Man McGucket! I want to be Old Man McGucket.
My daughter and I were in Oregon last year and passed like a mystery trees. I'm trying to remember the name of the spot, but clearly some of the writers had been to this spot and used it as inspiration and stuff. It was really neat. Some of the drawings and stuff were really great.
Some of the greatest writing on TV, and just funny, deeply funny, and mysterious and beautiful. I can't get over how good it is. My son's watched, I believe, the whole show like 3 times through. It's whatever it is, 4 seasons. But it's not seasons. They call it chapters or something because they came out within 1 year or so. I don't know. But it's good, wicked good. And to some people, Schoolhouse Rock. I mean, Schoolhouse Rock was probably important for, 25 years?
Yeah, I'm still running.
But it started a little late for me. But I was in New York City. And, I was only just some 20th century classical, but mostly pop music, punk music, hard rock, art rock, that kind of stuff. I did my Can and my Magma, my Frank Zappa, and then, of course, Bob Dylan in the Pocket, Ramones and Pistols and PIL and Heads and so on. But I decided one night to go see Blossom Dearie. And Blossom Dearie was a jazz singer, died a few years ago, and she had a little girl voice, and she was technically brilliant in jazz, accompanied herself on piano. And I don't know, I think it was Teller and me, very early, went to some sophisticated, piano bar. I guess that's the wrong thing, a piano bar, but sophisticated soiree, you know, with people drinking sophisticated drinks and a piano. And the opening act for Blossom Dearie, but also sang with him, was Bob Dorough and Bill Takacs. And Bill Takacs was the first jazz bass player that I ever saw live. He was playing, what's it called, Steinberger bass, fretless, electric Steinberger bass. And it was the most beautiful instrument I've ever seen. And it really, my odyssey to becoming an upright bass player probably starts pretty heavily with Bill Takacs. Even though Bill Takacs was playing an electric, he was playing upright riffs and had an upright feel to it, and it was used as an upright within the thing, and that was piano and bass. And Bob Dorough sang and played piano, and Bob Dorough, of any performer I've ever seen, had the sweetest, most honest, not a bit of malice anywhere in him. You know, it was someone would yell out a schoolhouse rock request when he was doing like real bebop, and it wasn't like, that's not what I'm here to play. It wasn't like, no, let's not. It was like, okay.
We'll just go right into it.
Yeah. And
I'm only a bill.
and he would play that, you know, My Hero Zero was the one I think the one he wrote first. And I was reading his obituary, and he chose, he had a bad time for jazz and was working at an advertising company when someone came to him and asked him to do Schoolhouse Rock. And because of Bob Dorough being very respected, he sang with Miles Davis. Now, what are the list of people who have sang with Miles Davis? He sang and played piano with Miles Davis. And his records, I think it's Devil May Care, his first jazz record from the 50s, is a remarkable record because he takes really complex bebop and puts in it the spirit of purity and gentleness and love. And that first night that I saw him playing jazz, Blossom Dearie. I also love Blossom Dearie. She has an album and a song called My New Celebrity Is You. Written by Dave Fishburne, I think.
Okay.
My New Celebrity Is You. And starts out with I Dig Modigliani, Jolson doing Swanee. You know, it's this whole thing about all the celebrities, and has the great lines, has lines in it like, when I mention Orson, I refer to Bean, not Wells. And spent the night with Dino, had to sleep with Jerry Lewis too. But anyone can see My New Celebrity Is You. She did that night, one of the most beautiful nights I've ever remembered. And afterwards, I talked to Bob Dorough and Bill Takacs, and just sweet, wonderful guys who just loved the music. And I then went on to see Bob Dorough another 5 or 6 times.
Wow, a lot.
And the last time I saw him was we were playing Chicago or something, and went to see him at an after-hours club, and he was in his 90s, still ponytail down to his waist, good hippie-type look with a bebop beat soul. Playing music with just a big smile and just chops out the ass. I mean, just such a sense of time. And I think of all the people I've heard play piano and sing, the best one at accompanying himself. Had the combination of an independence where there was different musical lines when he was singing, coupled with the one overall feeling of doing that. I saw him at it was Iridium in New York. Anytime I got a chance to see Bob Dorough, I would go see him, and just so good. If you just do a little search for Bob Dorough, which is spelled D-O-R-O-U-G-H. Doroughh, Bob Dorough, and Blossom Dearie, and check them out. It is the breeziest. It's breeziest jazz, but it's not smooth jazz. It's breezy, but it's also heavy, complex bebop. And his singing along with his piano playing is gorgeous. And I was pretty shook up by him dying. I just saw it like you usually do on Twitter or something, and I just had pictured I would go see Bob Dorough a lot more times.
Well, he felt ageless.
Yeah,
Even 80s and 90s.
yeah, he really did. Jeans and he didn't have any trappings of old age. He was just a guy playing piano and singing, and always at the same places. I mean, I never saw him at a place that sat more than 100 people. Always sitting at tables, always hanging out with people afterwards, talk to anybody. And he did also, I will say very proudly, come to see our show, I believe on Broadway.
Nice.
And really loved it.
That's fantastic.
Came with his family, and I think he had to leave before he could get through to me with all the autographs and stuff. But
I saw him at a high school in the middle of nowhere.
when?
I want to say 2002. Mid 80s.
You were just hanging out. He was.
No, it was a lesson in show business for me.
Okay.
It was at Bloomington North High School in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Seats maybe 75 people.
Mm-hmm.
He put on a solid show in the middle of nowhere. That was the room that he played. It wasn't an academic thing. It wasn't a school of music thing at the college nearby.
Right.
It was just that was the room that was available for him to do a show, and that's what he booked.
Was it filled up?
It was filled up.
And what did he charge a seat? Do you remember?
Boy,
But it would be a regular price.
$20 maybe.
Yeah. So that was his gig,
That was his gig for that day.
traveling around. Yeah. And did he have a bass player with him? He had Bill.
He's
Bill
solo.
Tackett? Solo. Oh. I'll tell you that combination, the sound of that Steinberger fretless electric bass, that really, really mellow tone through a nice amp, nice flat amp, a microphone on Bob Durough's light voice, and a piano that I believe wasn't mic'd. Those three sounds, the piano, bass, and voice, were just amazing.
Is there a reason you haven't tried that type of bass yourself in your show? Wouldn't it make it a little easier to travel?
It would, but I like a little bit. I like the violence of a bigger of a bigger bass. I like that you're moving a lot of air. There's a gentle, meticulous quality in playing an electric fretless bass that I don't like. I don't like it. I like the big scale, the big thing. Meanwhile, Jonesy and I's record, the show before the show, continues to rocket along. It's doing very well. I've done a lot of interviews, and I believe the reviews have been just, we played the joke ones on here, but just out of this world. They've been just fabulous. But Bob Dorough, I don't know how many people I've played the Blossom Dearie, My New Celebrity Is You. And Bob Dorough, Baltimore Oreo is a heartbreaking, beautiful song. His Yardbird Suite, he put words to the Yardbird Suite. And the words he wrote to the Yardbird Suite in his voice. A real jazz fan. And there's this quality of serious bebop guys that are aloof and troubled. And Bob Dorough had none of that. Just a goofy, happy guy with
Also preaching love.
preaching love
Preaching
every
love.
second. Every second preaching love. And no irony and jokes constantly and sweet and truly, truly humble with confidence to do what he could do. I mean, if you can't be Tom Jones, you could do you'd be just as well being Bob Dorough. His gentleness was just and also I was going to say needless to say, but not needless to say, very, very involved in the civil rights movement. Very involved. I think he's out of Oklahoma or something. Very involved in getting jazz music accepted and doing all of that. And I didn't know. I just assumed till his obituary came out that he was rolling in clover his whole life. And once he recorded with Miles, his life in show business was secure. Not true. Spent time not doing his primary thing, and probably still being pretty happy.
Yeah.
Now you have me curious. I know your taste in basses and acoustic guitars, but not electric guitars. What do you dig there?
My favorite sound for pop music is solo electric guitar with no acoustic sound whatsoever, like a Stratocaster, and a single voice. When I hear the Elvis Costello, Bruce Springsteen demos, Bob doesn't do demos with that. If his demos are with acoustic guitar or they're on piano. But a demo done with a slightly distorted, solid body electric guitar kills me. I don't like my electric guitars to be fat. I don't like the big Gibson electric guitar sound. I mean, I know Chuck Berry plays the night. I know that's an important part of rock and roll. But when I see a guitar that's completely solid body and little, and everything's being done in the amp and in the electronics, I like that a lot. I like a guitar that brings nothing out of the wood. So that's what I like. I like the Fender Stratocaster or Telecaster. It's just what I like, with a really, really loose whammy bar that just hangs down and they hardly ever touch. You know those whammy bars that the people have them so loosely screwed
It's going to fall out.
that they're swinging it back and forth the whole time. I like that out of a whammy bar. And then once, for a joke, pick it up and then retune after that song. That's what I want to see out of a guitar and a whammy bar. Do any of the Fenders come with a whammy bar?
Stock?
Stock?
No.
They're all added.
Yeah.
And then, whatever, Eddie Van Halen had a whammy bar that didn't throw the guitar out of tune, which I consider to be cheating. The whammy bar should throw the guitar out of tune. So after you've used the whammy bar, the rest of the song, you should be out of tune, like a real human being. A real human being is out of tune after a whammy bar solo. You with me on this?
I like the high-tech stuff.
You like it that it doesn't go out of tune?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but do you like the whammy bar really loose?
I don't like playing it loose, no.
Yeah, we don't care about playing it. Do you like the way it looks? I like it to be like a little swinging dick.
You're making an artistic point. It has nothing to do with the music.
A little swinging dick. Nothing to do with the music at all. But that little swinging dick, wherever he moves, that little whammy bar goes back and forth. Then you reach down, grab the little finger, then drop it, and you're done. And the guitar is not a tune for the rest of the song. Tune it up real quick afterwards. That's what I want out of a guitar.
I get it.
Any other questions?
I'm just not there.
Any other questions?
If you're driving at the speed of light.
Turn on your headlights. You know what? I saw something you would have liked this week. I was in Hermosa Beach doing the Comedy and Magic Club down there.
Yeah.
And there's a veterinarian about a block from the hotel that I'm at that had a real topiary. A real topiary. Actual plants, not faked. They had a topiary poodle dog.
Oh, really?
Life-size topiary poodle dog.
Topiary. Could any words
I know.
make me happier than real topiary poodle dog?
I brought that back for you.
Oh, that's great. You get a picture of it for me?
I didn't get a picture of it. It was too much trappic, really.
In
but
Hermosa Beach.
in Hermosa.
And you're sure it was a real topiary?
I'm sure it was a real topiary
So-
because it wasn't that good. It was a fake one. Wow, that's funny if it's fake.
I worked so hard to make a topiary of myself, self-portrait. I spent a lot of time with the hedge clippers, and never got anyone to recognize it as me. But I could see myself working in topiary. You know what else I love? I love fountains. Mm-hmm. My favorite fountain is in San Francisco, the one that looks like bombed out. It's just water running.
Oh yeah, sure. I know what you're talking about in the downtown area.
Yeah, really
Yeah,
downtown.
yeah.
Oh, do I love that fountain. I adore that fountain.
That is a beautiful.
Yeah,
fountain.
really fun. And they have
I've done street shows there.
Have you really?
Yeah.
At the fountain?
At the fountain, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Big metal
Yeah.
beat up
Blocks.
yeah, with water coming out of them. And in Chicago, I went to Millennial Park, and they have also fabulous fountain. They have two monoliths made of
think I've
glass
seen those two, yeah.
blocks. And in the monoliths are people's faces. So they're talking to each other. And the pool is about an inch deep and black. And there's water coming out all over the projections, LEDs. And then very rarely, we didn't get to see it, but very rarely water comes out of their mouths.
Wow. Maybe I haven't seen that
Beautiful.
one.
It's beautiful,
sounds
beautiful.
good.
I love a good fountain and a good topiary. You give me a good fountain and a good topiary, I'm happy forever.
There's a park somewhere in the world that would just completely delight you.
Somewhere in the world. And if I can find a park that has real topiaries and real interesting fountains, I would consider. I've never taken a vacation other than one trip.
There's a park in Costa Rica that I drove by that had really a huge number of real topiaries.
Oh, boy.
Beautiful park.
I'll tell you, I'm very, very, very unhappy with Legoland.
Yeah, well,
If you're going to have a place called Legoland and things are going to be built with Legos, you can't have a structure underneath.
you think the giant Einstein head is a fake?
Should be.
I know it's got a frame underneath it to reduce the weight.
Should be Legos all the way down.
Legos all the way through. Okay.
Yeah, I think it should be built with Legos. I'm also uncomfortable, and I know I'm alone in this. I'm uncomfortable with there being special Lego pieces.
Yeah, I agree with that. That does seem a little odd.
I mean, I don't mind how small the Lego pieces go.
Right.
I don't mind changing colors.
How do you feel about wheels? Not good?
Not
All
happy.
right.
I also don't like the little figures that fit in there.
Oh, no.
Don't like the little hats. I like a Lego to be, it's that wonderful block that fits together.
Yeah.
And then you can have single ones or double ones or long ones or
flat
short
ones or
ones or
skinny
flat
ones.
ones
Yeah,
or
sure.
skinny ones. But it's got to have the dimple going into something else with a dimple.
All right.
Everything needs to be interconnected. And then you use your creativity to create something
Right.
beautiful out of that. That's what I like. So if you could give me real topiary, real Legos, and real interesting water features. Doesn't have to be exactly a fountain, but a water feature. would
Right.
be
You like
really
the jumping fountain stuff?
Yes,
The
although
Disney stuff? That's beautiful.
Once it's done, it's done. I haven't seen anybody do anything with the jumping fountains that's new for a while.
Okay.
First time I saw a jumping fountain that went over the path
Yeah?
you were going through, that was the greatest thing in the world.
And then you got used to it. You just got used to it.
Used to it. But I don't get used to the fountains in San Francisco.
Right.
That's a level of art that's just pure.
Do you go out and watch the fountain here down at the Bellagio?
Yeah.
That's a
When Box and I go out for our little dates,
your annual.
which is what's annual, except it's Valentine's Day, it's your birthday, it's Christmas, it's everything.
Right.
Several annuals. We go and we sit there and we watch the fountain and we
Because
talk.
that's a beautiful fountain as well.
It is. And it's just become a real thing. It's so funny when you're first having children, you think about all these rituals you want to put in.
Right.
And you don't have control over them. They end up just being the ones they are.
Right.
Like I wouldn't have thought that taking my daughter to the Eiffel Tower, to going out, getting our nails done, her hair done, her getting all dressed up, me putting on a suit jacket, going to the Eiffel Tower and the two of us having dinner, would be a ritual. But it's a huge ritual for us. It's really,
That's great.
It's really, really important to us. And last night we got home from Chicago. And as we were coming, as we were driving back with the long-suffering Glenn, Emily said to me, the Z really wants to see Infinity War.
Right.
And can we see it Sunday? And I said, well, no, I got Sunday school. Then I got to go talk. Get this. I got to be interviewed right after this. Had to be interviewed for the Travel Channel in a special they're doing on life after death. The Travel
The
Channel.
Travel Channel to talk about life after death.
Yep.
That's good. Wonder who sold them that, because that's the agent I want.
And they brought me in. They're bringing me in to discuss what I think life after death will be.
All right. Been doing
So-
some research?
I said to Z, but I just said to you that I'm going to go do that. My son said, well, that'll be a short interview. It's one sentence, right?
That's a good boy.
Yeah. There's no life after death.
Because I think Joey and I are going to Infinity War as soon as we're done here.
Yeah, well, here's what happened. First of all, Infinity Wars, you cannot get more good-looking people
Right.
on the screen. It is incredible. Good-looking, charming, attractive, sexy people.
Right.
And I got to tell you, and I'm not thrilled about this, it's skewed heavily towards men.
Yes, it is.
The women in it, I mean, Scarlett Johansson looks fine, but there's no wit or charm. Pepper Pot in it for a minute, and I don't like the way she looks, Gwyneth Paltrow. I mean, not like you put Robert Downey Jr. and Gwyneth Paltrow in the same scene. It's just not fair to Gwyneth Paltrow. I love, and share this with my daughter. I love the
new Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
What's not to love about him? He's great.
He's the best. He's the greatest person alive. And James Brolin is the bad guy. Is great. And the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, he's good.
They're all wonderful, and
That's a
funny
good- yeah.
and witty. And then they ruin it with fighting. The fighting goes on
right.
forever, and the special effects are shitty. You know, because when you have people doing things they can't do, your special effects can't be good, right? Webs being shot.
Sure.
So you just wait for the fights to be over, and the fights are never.
So you're looking for like a combination of Infinity War and Big Chill.
Yes.
They're all going to spend a weekend together in upstate New York.
I like the drama where they talk about their issues and their problems. I also don't care at all about Supernatural.
Yeah.
I don't care at all about when they make the stakes too high. You know, I much prefer to see the Avengers work on reasonable size stakes, you know, like James Bond size stakes, which are not reasonable, but reasonable in that world. The idea that you're going to get 5 jewels, also collecting things like the Lord of the Rings and all that stuff. When you're collecting little stones around the universe, I don't care about your collection. And when you pretend you have a goal that's going to save the universe, like killing half the beings in it, because that's going to stop overpopulation, I don't care. None of that happens.
Right.
I'd rather see a bad guy that was a real bad guy. You just said a guy that just wants to kill everybody, right?
Yeah.
That's what he is in the comic books?
He's got a crush on Death.
Uh-huh.
Death is a female character, and he's got a crush on her. He's trying to impress her by killing people.
Okay. Well, that's reasonable. That's reasonable.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't put that in
I
there.
also missed Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Ant-Man wasn't in it.
Did I sum that up right, Jared? Yeah.
And I like Ant-Man. But boy, Spider-Man is so cute, so attractive, so funny. And there is a line in there, my favorite line in the whole movie. Can you tell what it was?
I don't remember. I'm
Are
sorry.
you going to give it away?
Too late
I
in
am.
the day for me.
All right.
I am going to
Okay.
give it away because it's okay. You know, Bending Thunder Snatch,
Yeah.
Cooper Snatch,
Benedict.
who was not. But here's something to drive you crazy: the 2 characters that do yellow discs on their hands, yellow flaming discs, Doctor Strange and the
Yeah.
guy that works with Doctor Strange, both are named Benedict. The real actor's name.
Wow.
So Benedict, hold your left hand. No, Wong.
Benedict.
Wong, not Cumbersnatch. Wong. Oh, Snickersnack. Hold your hand down. Wong, hold your hand up. And I'm not saying that in a racist way. His name actually is Wong, okay? Spider-Man is meeting Doctor Strange for the first time.
You're completely white.
What's that?
You're completely white.
I am?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because you're not Wong.
He's going to do the racist jokes. You don't need to. He's going to cover it.
So they're meeting. Doctor Strange is meeting Spider-Man. And Spider-Man says, I'm Peter Parker. And Benedict Cumberbatch says, I'm Doctor Strange. And Spider-Man says, oh, we're using made-up names. Okay, I'm Spider-Man. It's a pretty great line.
That's a good line.
Pretty great line.
That's a nice moment.
And there's some good Rubber Band Man. You must like Rubber Band
Yep.
Man. Yeah. And but I don't like the I'm going to torture you till you tell me this, and you got to kill something you love, and little knives all over your eyes. I don't care about that shit at all. I want to hear witty repartee. If I could just have my dinner with Andre,
Right.
with
Robert Downey
Robert Downey Jr. and Spider-Man sitting at a table talking, that'd be the greatest movie ever to me. I have such a crush on those guys. All those superhero guys are so charming. Except, I don't know, Thor. Thor doesn't do it for me. Thor doesn't kill me. Captain America doesn't kill me. But Iron Man, Spider-Man, and also I
Jared's
wish
totally with you on these.
we are.
Jared is. Jared is like just yeah.
Do you agree with me?
100%.
And
Jared's saying everybody agrees with you.
Surprisingly,
Yeah.
no.
No, there are not people. Not everyone on Earth. agrees.
Also, we there's a lot of stuff, and I won't give it away. My son, who wanted to go to the movie, we were at the movie because of him. It's a long movie. How long is it? A couple hours?
2:17, I think.
2 hours 17. But it also has, I believe, a full half hour or longer of previews. It's the longest preview I've ever seen. So we took our children who are 11 and 12 years old. We took our children to the 10:30 p.m. show. So we were out at 1. Okay?
Yeah.
Out at 1 or 1:15, right? And Z was asleep a half hour in.
2:40.
What I love about the movie's 2:40?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then a half hour previews. I was holding my daughter's hand the whole time. We went to the fancy place, Summerlin
Yeah,
5, Galaxy, whatever.
luxury theater, yeah.
Yeah. So also I threw Cray Ray out the window. I mean, popcorn and milk duds, my children.
Rough week for Ray.
I'm holding hands with Moxie, and I got to tell you, when the two characters kiss, Vision and
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch, when Vision and Scarlet Witch kiss, it was the greatest gender politics moment I could have experienced. I was sitting between Moxie and Z, and Moxie went, "Oh," and Z went, "Oh," simultaneously. Why are they
11
kissing?
to 12.
Go to fighting. Go to fighting. And every romantic moment in the movie, my daughter just melted. So at the end of the movie, as you know, and everybody knows, there are some surprising things. And so we finished and we're walking out, and Mox and I are talking about the surprising things, and Z gets really mad that we're spoiling the movie for him. And I say to Z, you can't blame us for spoiling a movie when you were sitting next to us. The fact that you slept, he said, you knew I was sleeping. So it became this moral quandary.
Right.
Where I said, I believe we have a right to walk out of a movie talking about it with the people who are with us at the movie. And he said, but you know and you care about me, and you should make special concessions for me. So I believe he was right.
You paid $12 for the privilege of discussing this movie on the way out.
You know how much it cost us to go to the Galaxy 5 for 4 of us and for snacks? By the time we're all done with everything?
It's same as dinner at the fanciest restaurant in town.
What's that?
Yeah, over
$130.
Wow.
It was $80, $85 just for the tickets. Then snacks are unbelievably expensive.
Wow.
So, $130 for 4 people to see a movie.
How many popcorns are we talking?
We're talking about one gigantic popcorn that was refilled for free. But we're talking about ices and
Yeah.
beverages and,
Bottle of water, got to have a Snickers.
yeah. Milk duds. Z got upset at me, too. He said to me, Daddy, you're eating candy? I said, yeah. He goes, why are you eating milk duds? I said, I want milk duds. He goes, it is the worst candy here. And he said, you eat candy so rarely. He said, I've seen you eat candy like twice in the past 2 years. You've got to pick something better than milk duds. I said, I want milk duds. I just want milk duds. He said, well, even Junior Mints are better, and they're not good. But I had my milk duds. My milk duds, my popcorn, and my large seltzer. It's pretty nice. Pretty way to live.
Sounds like a good day.
In a reclining chair, watching Infinity Wars, which I don't think I like. But boy, those men are attractive. And why don't they have a woman that has as important a part? Why isn't there a witty woman? Why doesn't Scarlett Johansson get
I
lines?
think you've got the character name. Witty Woman's pretty good.
Why doesn't she have a line? Her lines are like, "How do we go back to metal?" Did she have any good lines? No. And the Scarlet Witch, which is very confusing, two Benedicts, Scarlett Johansson and Scarlet Witch. And then I tried to look up Scarlet Witch online. I want to find out more about her character and why she was with Vision. And all I can find is 40 articles on how the actor doesn't want to wear a corset. She's showing more flesh than the other characters. But she's not showing more flesh than the other characters. The wrestler is in just a Speedo, isn't he? He's in just a Speedo. And I believe the raccoon is naked.
The raccoon is naked. Yes,
The raccoon
Rocket
is naked. Yeah. And Vision is often naked. So what's she complaining about with the little cleavage? Fine, give her a turtleneck. Oh, Scarlet Witch, which one is she? She's the one in the turtleneck. Fine, I'm fine with that. I didn't even care about her goddamn corset. Don't do us any favors, Scarlet Witch. Go ahead, wear a parka. I'm the superhero in the parka.
Then you'd have a Peter Parker and a Parker.
We had two Benedicts and a Peter Parker and a Parker. That would drive you crazy. Yeah, that was also, it was like The Right Stuff. Remember The Right Stuff?
Uh-huh.
With Scott Glenn playing Shepard and Shepard playing, if they had all the same names in the wrong roles, right?
Yeah.
And that was not right. Same thing here. Two Benedicts, no good. I also found out reading it that Benedict Cumberbatch, he was not there for the shooting. They had another guy doing all that, and they had to go back in and reshoot the scenes with his face. Out of all those people, Benedict Cumberbatch is busier than Robert Downey Jr.?
Well, the role was originally Kevin Spacey.
That's not true, but that would be great if it were.
You almost had it.
Can you imagine?
You see that one moment? He was like,
Can you imagine if they had to reshoot all of Infinity Wars because of Kevin Spacey?
wow.
It's a Ridley Scott joke.
Yeah, what I loved, All the Money in the World, that
Yeah.
movie. I only loved that movie because there's one shot of Kevin Spacey, right? When he gets off the train, it's actually Kevin Spacey. And I also loved trying to imagine how another actor would do that role. I wish, no one's ever going to do this, but it would make me happy. I wish they would take a script for a movie that was going to be an okay movie, like a thriller or something, and not tell them, because if you tell them, they'll cheat, but find two directors, two producers, give them the exact same script, have them cast it any way they want, shoot it any way they want, finish it up, release them both at once. Wouldn't you love that?
That would be fun.
Wouldn't you love
Great
to see like if L.A. Confidential came out with different people in all the roles doing it? I don't know why I'm picking only Kevin Spacey movies, but I mean, pretty soon they'll be doing that, right? Pretty soon they will be able to change Kevin Spacey in L.A. Confidential, right? Just put a different guy in there
Yeah. They could probably
without
do that
changing.
now.
Rest.
I think pretty soon they'll just they'll shoot regular people being the actors and sub whatever face in they want and everything.
Yeah. But the voices.
I mean, we're not that far away from it now.
There'll be Humphrey Bogart in movies and people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And doesn't Tom Cruise, someone told me this, but that doesn't mean it's true. And even it doesn't even mean it's true that I was told this, right? It could also be that I just made it up. But someone told me,
It's a good cover.
yeah, someone told me that Tom Cruise, why isn't Tom Cruise one of the Avengers? Anyway,
Robert Downey. He's too close to Robert Downey.
I guess so. But Robert Downey's so much better than Tom Cruise. I just answered my own question. Imagine Tom Cruise as Iron Man. Suck. Pure, utter suck. Those scenes where he's just being funny, no more pop references, that kind of stuff, suck. How can Spider-Man be that good? What makes him so good?
He's not Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that's one of the things you need, is not being Tom Cruise. But Tom Cruise has in his contract that he can never be portrayed older than he was 5 years ago. That they go in and do digital work on his face so he'll be the same age for the rest of his career. Is there any chance that's true?
I don't think I followed that. I'm sorry.
They're doing so much digital work on Tom Cruise now that he's not going to get older. Like in Mission Impossible, he will look the same age as the last Mission Impossible. Is that true?
I can't find any evidence of it online in the 3.5 seconds that I've spent on it.
I don't think I buy that.
No, but it'll happen eventually, right? Won't happen soon?
Hollywood Reporter says it's time for Tom Cruise to act his age.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, he did Collateral with gray hair, right?
I don't know.
What was Collateral?
The one with Jamie Foxx.
Oh, yeah. He did, yeah. But now, you know who's looking his age now? And I kind of like it. I just saw a picture of John Travolta in his next movie, looking like a crazy person.
That's great.
Yeah, John Travolta's okay, I think. Tom Cruise, too much of a movie star for my taste. But sure. So, want to talk about beds?
Sure.
Let's talk about beds.
Be careful.
Why is that?
Haven't been to bed yet.
Oh, that's right. You're tired. Maybe you've heard me talk about the amazing Sleep Number 360 smart beds.
I've heard
They're
you.
so smart, they respond to your every movement and automatically adjust to you. The great news is Sleep Number is introducing even more of these innovative beds, and their latest smart beds are even more comfortably overpriced. I'm still going softer. You know, I thought I wanted a firm bed with Sleep Number top.
Eventually, you're going to be just down on the boards on the floor, and then it goes back to being hard, right?
I guess so, but I'm liking it. And Emily and I are close together, but not the same. Not the same. We have different firmness. And Emily uses all the adjustments. You know, all those hospital adjustments. She brings her feet up, brings her back up, does all that. I don't do that. I like a flat bed of different adjustments, and we can do that differently because each side of the bed works separately. So many couples disagree on mattress firmness, and we're one of them. Mattress firmness. Mattress firmness. Sleep Number beds let you choose your ideal firmness on each side. So you just have exactly what's right for each of you. You can actually feel it contour to your neck, shoulders. Oh, I just want to go to bed now. Back and hips, relieving pressure points for a more proper spinal alignment. It even has an adjustment for snoring. How great is that? Is there anything, I hate to say this in front of you, Reddy, but really, is there anything better than a good night's sleep?
There's nothing better.
You know, Paul Simon said, I don't expect to be treated like a fool no more. I don't expect to sleep through the night.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, like maybe twice a year, I wake up at the same position I went to bed in. Ah, is that nice?
Scarlet Witch in a corset.
Yeah.
Better than a good night's sleep.
But really?
I don't
think so.
Bad
My
call
sleep
back.
number setting is 65, and it also has Sleep IQ. Sleep IQ! Come in to see the latest Sleep Number 360 smart beds with introductory savings up to $300 plus special financing. Just ask the Sleep Number store for details. There are more than 550 Sleep Number stores. Visit sleepnumber.com/Penn to find the store near you. Sleepy Q! Yeah, Sleepy Q.
I don't mean to be too inside baseball, but you both had paper in your hands, and I didn't have one. Was I supposed to?
Yeah.
Okay.
I bought whiskey.
What? How did you? What? Ah.
I've never
Why would you buy whiskey?
I've never had alcohol in my home.
Right. So you're going to start with
But
whiskey.
Bob Dylan put out 3 kinds of whiskey. He put out Tennessee whiskey, rye whiskey, and double barrel whiskey. And the bottles all have his ironwork.
Oh, okay.
All his ironwork. It's a beautiful bottle. And the picture of him
Do you think most
holding-
people are aware of the ironwork thing, or do you want to talk about that for a sec?
Well, Bob Dylan is a welder. And he does a lot of ironwork.
I was hoping you'd leave it there.
And he does a lot of sculpture.
Yeah.
A lot of gates. He does gates. And I do have some Bob Dylan artwork. I have an etching of his and books of his artwork. He's actually really good. He can do everything. And he's welding. And he does his own welding, unlike Jennifer Beals in Flashdance. He does his own welding. And I tried to get a friend of mine who's very wealthy to commission a gate for his home by Bob Dylan. And I even set up the deal, and they got the price and everything. And then my friend's wife didn't want
Found out.
didn't want a gate there. It was fine with Bob Dylan, just didn't want a gate at all there. But I'm if I ever get a windfall of a huge amount of money after my children are all taken care of, I will get a Bob Dylan gate. But for right now, I bought 3 bottles of whiskey. And the bottles are each like $80. And I will have whiskey in my home. I'll have it somewhere displayed. Now, Bill from Big Bang Theory.
Oh. Oh, I thought you were Bill W. Bill W's call. And,
The creator of Big Bang Theory, Bill.
okay.
He said he would let me pour the liquor into another container, like a thermos, and he would buy it from me and drink the Bob Dylan liquor while I had the bottles. But I think I want the bottles full.
I think it's going to look better if they're full. But you have to worry that some guest late one night is going to drink.
Well, they'll be put in a museum-type setting.
All right.
I also don't like the idea of having alcohol in my home,
Yeah.
but I believe it's alcohol in something. We'll see it more like antifreeze than
Right.
than a beverage.
Yeah. You have oil in your home.
Won't be opened up. And I wrote to Bob's office, and I said, so now because of Bob putting out whiskey, I've got to start drinking. He said, it's a great place to start. I've been told that the whiskeys are really good. Now, you've never had whiskey.
I've never had whiskey.
Have you
no,
ever had
I
whiskey?
can't even imagine.
No.
Never. Have you ever had whiskey? And
Shall we meet?
what kind of whiskey do you like?
Talk loud.
The sweeter stuff, like honey flavored.
Like what?
Honey flavored?
Honey
So
flavored.
the Jack Daniels new with the bees on it, or
Oh, Jack Daniels has bees whiskey.
I saw an ad for one that had.
Is Jack
honey.
Daniels is Jack Daniels whiskey?
What are you looking at me for?
Jack Daniels is whiskey.
Yes,
So Jack Daniels another. It says like is bourbon whiskey.
yes.
Technically, yes, but they're separate categories.
So everything is whiskey. Okay. I thought there were different kinds of liquor, but everything's whiskey. There's bourbon and rye are also whiskey.
I think those are also whiskey.
Scotch is
I'm
also
not an
whiskey?
expert.
Whiskey is unlike nothing you've ever seen before.
Unlike nothing you've never seen before. It's unlike nothing. That's what whiskey is. So I will have whiskey in my home. If I'm uncomfortable with it, I will give it away.
All right.
Or I will give it to someone for safekeeping. Keep this in your home.
And when you get the gate, we'll put it on top of the gate. We'll mount it as the
Yeah.
balls.
Well, I would like a Dylan gate, but they're obviously they're very expensive, and I would think it would be irresponsible to
enjoy some of your own money.
yeah.
Okay.
I would. My plan is I want to get my children to absolutely. I guess I've already done this. I want to get them to 21. You know, I'll get them through whatever
Right.
college they want to go to or whatever they want to do up until then.
Yeah,
But
I think you're set.
yeah, we'll see.
You can sell the house and probably cover it.
Yeah, we'll see. Because I don't care. I mean, there's nothing else I need. And a Bob Dylan gate is a passing fancy. I'm not really one for owning things. I said after buying whiskey. But I'll tell you, for the things I like, let's talk about things I like. I loved the Swiss Army knife displays.
Yes.
They're about 3 feet tall, and the scissors go, and it plugs in.
That is exactly the noise it makes.
and it moves. And it was a display that every time I would go to the mall in the 70s, I would look at that. I would stand out in front of the Swiss Army store. I would stare at that display and go, I love this display. And one Christmas, my dear friend from junior high, who then worked for us, Mark Garland, he's now assistant director in New York, but he worked with us. My oldest friend, Mark Garland, one Christmas, back in the days before the internet, wrote to the Swiss Army Knife Company and said he wanted to have one of those. And they said, we only sell them to stores. They can't be bought by private people. So then Mark Garland went out and got business cards printed for his Swiss Army knife store and letterhead, you know, like a single piece of it at a copy store.
Back in the old days when you had to cut out pieces of paper
Yeah.
and glue them onto something to make it.
And then he sent that saying, my store, you know, Garland's knife
Army
and gun
knife.
shop wants this display in our window. And he bought it. And I think at the time it probably cost him a couple $100. And he gave it to me, and I loved it. I had it forever in New York. I had it forever in Vegas. And it would just be a constant
I
sentry.
remember that noise, yes.
Constant sentry in my house, and I loved it. And then in this latest move to the Hawk, where I live now, it got beat up. The back of it fell off, and the engine goes, but it doesn't move it. So I tried to find somebody to fix it. Emily couldn't find anybody to fix it, or someone said they could fix it. It was going to be like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I just said, someone. I mean, what I need is Tim Jennison. I need someone who can just like go in and go, boop, all fixed, clean it up, dust it all off. But then I went on the interweb, and I found that on eBay they're selling them.
Oh.
But they sell them. The guy sells like $1,300. It's pretty expensive. But I thought, boy, I like that. And I decided that my life is less rich now that I don't have my Swiss Army knife going all the time. So
How's
I'm
your
going to get
birds?
me
How's your birds?
one. What?
Your sipping birds.
Sipping birds are fabulous.
Okay, so
One of
you
the
still
best-
got some movement.
One of the best investments of my life. I have four, although the big fancy one
Yeah?
that I paid like a lot of money
Yeah.
for, no good.
Really?
Not as cute as the little ones. Doesn't work as well. It would fall over sometimes. It was too classy. The Happy Birds in that red, the hat,
The red one, yeah.
the hat and the eyes and the little tail feathers, they are perfect. So I have 4 of them at my office in my home. That every morning I get up, it's like I'm feeding my pets. I fill it up. I get them all going and happy. Then I have one that Emily got me this little martini glass with one that hooks on the side, which is a little creepy because it's almost like a bird with arms, which I like because I don't like the fact that birds don't have arms. So those 5 are going. And then when I get to my dressing room at night, I fill up those and have 4 going there. And they're beautiful. I always have my Happy Birds going. But I think my Swiss Army knife I also want. And I don't know. Do we know someone that's handy?
I can take a look at it if you want. I'm pretty good at fixing stuff.
Yeah, I would like that working. It would make me very, very happy. Or should I buy one?
Well, let me look at it first.
And then I also, in Chicago, we went to an Illy store. My wife loves Illy coffee.
Yeah.
We went to, what's it called, Espresso Monte or something. That's so special name. And they had a giant espresso cup. Giant espresso. It was really big. It was like 4 feet across at the top. One of those perfect Illy espresso cups.
Yeah.
And I said, boy, I want one of those. Because I love window displays in stores. And the guy who was working at the Illy was a really, really nice guy. I liked him. Not as charming as Spider-Man, but pretty close. He was a very attractive young man. And my wife said to him, we so want that cup in your display there. We want that cup. He said, take it.
How giant?
How giant?
Yeah.
This big.
Oh, 4 foot.
What's that?
3-4 foot.
Yeah.
Okay.
The widest top.
I was picturing like beaver falling in it, and getting stuck for the night.
No, not beaver falling in it. But he said, take it, which I thought was just the cutest thing to say.
Right.
Yeah. Why doesn't Scarlett Johansson have a line like, just take the espresso cup? Why are the women...
Did you take the espresso
why
cup,
are the women,
or
no,
did you leave it?
I think he was kidding. But I would have liked to have called his bluff, but I wasn't sure we'd get through the revolving door.
Yeah, also try to get it on the flight home.
Yeah, as carry on. I'll tell you,
Just a cup of coffee, you walking through security.
this is where sexism bothers me the most. There should be a female-identified character somewhere in Infinity War that isn't way down the list of, and I don't believe this is my sexism. I believe it's in the writing. Am I wrong about this? I believe it's in the writing. I believe it's in the powers. It's in everything. I mean, I don't see any reason on earth that Spider-Man couldn't easily be a young woman and have that kind of have those gonads, have those ovaries,
right?
Have that quality.
The bravado.
Should I wreck this now?
What's that?
She's coming.
Yeah, they've got to have one coming, I'm sure.
The beeper at the end of the...
Yeah.
This is going to be a spoiler, I guess, for people.
La, 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 la.
Yeah, well, I just found out that it's only the first half, which makes the ending much less hip. It's only the first half of the show. But Captain America is now a woman?
Captain Marvel
Captain
is
Marvel.
a female character.
And is witty?
I wouldn't go with witty, but we don't know how she's going to be in the movie because they haven't done her in film yet.
But Captain Marvel is a woman.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
She's summoned at the end of the movie.
Right. So she'll come in and take care of it?
Yeah.
Now, I don't care.
She's going to clean it up.
I don't care about
How
power.
sexist is this?
I don't care about power. I don't care about that. I just want someone with a snotty, witty attitude. You know?
Widow used to be that.
What's that?
Black Widow used to be that.
Well, she sure isn't.
Exactly.
She sure isn't that now at all. I remember one of the earlier movies, I had some hope for Black Widow, but she went away. In this movie, she's not at all.
You know, that last segment, all I could think about was Bob Dylan as Iron Man.
Oh. Bob Dylan is Iron Man.
I told you I don't want to join your super secret boy band.
It would be pretty, I don't want to join your super secret boy band. It'd be great, wouldn't it?
That'd be great. That would be good. And it's the suit, you know. He could do it.
Yeah. How long are we going to be before we have? It should be like a year, right? When wheelchairs we start seeing replaced by people who are kind of standing up as they move around.
They've got those designed
framework.
and built,
Yeah.
and they're going up and down stairs and stuff. They've got some really great stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's probably just too expensive yet. Maybe that's still the problem, because they are beautiful. They also have stand-up ones, so that you can reach stuff in your cabinets and things that are just beautiful.
Yeah.
And frightening.
But that's like Iron Man.
Yeah.
That'll just be Iron Man. It'll be pretty great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know what I was saying at all when I got sidetracked. Do you have any idea where I was going with that?
No.
Before we got
Sorry.
Bob Dylan's that. But yeah, so Captain Marvel might be that.
Yeah.
I just hope, it's the same thing in the world. Women that want to be successful in business have had to have
Be less smart ass, you think?
a little less smart ass, a little more submissive. They have to be more officious and play by the rules. They can't be as goofy. I want goofy women in movies. That's what I want. And I guess if I went to see like I Feel Pretty and stuff, I guess I get to see that, right? That's what those are. But I don't go to see those movies, so I guess it's my fault. Also, but my daughter is crazy for Black Panther. She loves him. Mm-hmm. But he's a dull character to me too.
He's the king, so that automatically makes him.
Suspect. I have such problems with the monarchy.
Yeah.
Even that. Also, I have no. Once you put revenge as one of the motives of any character in any movie, I have just no interest. You killed my brother,
Right.
and I have to. And then I don't know. Will the Solo movie be any good?
Kristen Wiig does a great Goofy.
Yeah, she'd be a good superhero.
Who's Kristen Wiig?
Actress, great actress.
SNL cast
Oh
member.
yeah. Why isn't she Black Widow?
Target lady.
What's that?
Playing target lady, then playing a superhero.
Yeah,
That's target lady.
that could be your secret identity, Target Lady. But I think all of this is coming in due time. Ghostbusters, the female Ghostbusters was trying that
Yeah.
really hard, and they did a good job. It just didn't quite hit the zeitgeist, but it was good.
But Guardians was such a hit that they weren't really expecting with that tone. Mm-hmm. And then Deadpool, same deal.
Why isn't Deadpool in the Avengers?
Licensing.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's licensing problems.
Isn't he Marvel?
The different film companies own different parts of that.
Different parts of Marvel?
Yeah.
So will the new Deadpool be good?
Oh boy, I don't want to talk about this.
Why?
It's a moral compromise
To talk about it?
for me.
Why?
Because you know about my hang up with Cirque,
Oh yeah.
right? The stunt girl died during Deadpool 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so now I can't see it,
that's right. Yeah. I guess that should be right. Yeah.
which is my favorite movie for the last 10 years nhưng.
Yeah, but that's a good position to take. It's a really good position to take. I saw an interview with Ryan Reynolds, but I'm telling you, why isn't there someone that attractive who's female? Why is that? Why not? They're all over the place. I see them all over the streets. Why aren't they in the? In my life, they're all over. Why aren't they in the movies? That's my problem. Never mind, this inclusive riders. That's not the way to solve it. Just get good people. They're all over the place. Hire them. That's what I'm saying. But he uses the same meditation I use, Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, yeah.
But Ryan Reynolds is more troubled than I am. How can that be? How can that be? That he has all these horrible things bothering him and he's all nervous and all bothered. He walks around gorgeous with a successful movie. He's full of angst. I walk around looking like me, happy as a bug.
Hey, Penn.
Yeah?
What you thinking?
That's what I'm thinking. I guess that's why I'm happier, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
He's thinking, how's this movie going to go, that kind of stuff. But I'm happy with everything. So, Bob Duro, we miss you. We love you. Marvel, let's hope Captain Marvel. Well, Captain, she has the name right in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe already they've done everything I want.
Really busy day at Marvel Studios that day.
Yeah.
What are we going to name this character? Captain. What's it say on my desk? Oh, Captain Marvel.
Also, having Captain is a good thing too. I approve of all of this. Maybe all of my problems. You know what? If the Infinity War 2 has real topiaries in a fountain, plus a lead, witty, attractive female character
Built out of Legos.
with very little fighting and no revenge, I'll be thrilled to pieces. That was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha-cha-cha.
And to our listening ears,
You become naked, except for Witch, and you can wear your turtleneck. The rest of us will become naked. Do they show Captain? We didn't say through the whole credits. Do they show Captain Marvel at the end, or they just show
The logo on the beeper.
the logo on the beeper? They don't show her.
No.
Does everybody but me know who's going to play her already?
No.
They don't know.
No.
Is it going to be an unknown?
I don't know.
It's an unknown. You know I love you. And I'm talking to you, Robert Downey Jr. and Spider-Man.
Oh, they pointed out Groot was also naked.
Groot was also naked, sure.
That's right.
Boy, I